What's going on, guys? Welcome back, and today I'm going to be going over some unpopular opinions about the Transformers franchise. So I will be going over 8 opinions that have either been left in the comments of my community post, on TikTok, or have been posted online either on Reddit or other medias. And then I'll be discussing whether I agree or disagree with them, and giving reasons as to why. Then I'll give you 2 of my own unpopular opinions and explaining them as well. So first, we have a comment from Storm saying, "The Transformers the movie from 1986 is overrated, it's nostalgic, but it's not the best Transformers movie." And for this one, I have to admit that I agree. So don't get me wrong, I still absolutely love this movie, and I think it's great, but that is because it's so nostalgic to me. I agree that it's overrated because despite having some really cool scenes and having the introduction of Unicron, I don't find the middle of the film to be that enticing, and I'm not massively a fan of the fact that 90% of the characters were either cut from the film or killed off at the beginning. I don't think this film is the perfect definition of what a Transformers film should be, as for me personally, that title would go to Transformers 1. Next up is an opinion I found on Reddit, and this person believes that Transformers Prime is massively overhyped and not that good. And for this one, I disagree quite a lot. Is this series perfect? Maybe not. Is it the best Transformers show out there? Maybe not for some. For me personally, this is my favourite Transformers show, and it is almost perfect to me. I love that each character has development and their own personality. I love that when the show needs to be serious, it will be, and I love that this show can have fun as well with all its different characters and plots. I even find myself liking each and every human character and their own relationships with the different Autobots. And finally, I love that the Decepticons get a lot of screen time and aren't just evil bad guys, but actual characters who each get the spotlight at some point. I could go on all day about how much I love Transformers Prime, but we have more unpopular opinions to get through, and so I shall move on. And with moving on, we get to the next opinion, and that is that the Transformers animated designs and overall art style is pretty bad. Now I can't say that I agree or disagree with this personally. I think the show itself is great, however for some characters, I just don't vibe with their designs. I'm not a great fan of the massive chin that Optimus has, and I don't rate Bumblebee's design either. I do like Prowl and Bulkhead's design, but Ratchet is also a miss for me. The Decepticons all look fairly good, although I'm not massive on Shockwave's design to be honest. And yeah, I think this is one of those things that either bother you or don't, and I think I land in the side of it bothers me. But anyways, this next unpopular opinion is to do with the toy lines, and this person says that parts forming isn't a bad thing for toys. And I actually agree with this statement to a certain extent. Obviously I'd prefer my figures to not have parts forming, as it can take away from the gimmick of the transformation. However, I don't mind it if the character is particularly difficult to translate into toy form and would either have to have a lot of kibble or have one of its forms compromised. I think an example of this is the newly revealed Age of Extinction Optimus Prime, which allows you to detach his backpack. Now I know this isn't fully parts forming, as you're not adding pieces on or having to remove pieces and reattach them elsewhere. However, I think it works as an example, as Age of Extinction Optimus is notorious for having barely any vehicle mode parts on him, and so to translate that into a figure and have it look perfect is nearly impossible. So with that in mind, I really appreciate that you can take off the backpack in order to make his robot mode look as accurate as possible, whilst not compromising the vehicle mode. So yeah, I agree that it's not a bad thing, however I'd still prefer to not have to do it. So, sticking with the toy lines, our next opinion is that the Masterpiece line should not be so obsessed with accuracy. Now, I don't want to sound harsh, as we are all entitled to our own opinion, however, I have to say that this makes absolutely no sense to me. When I buy a Masterpiece figure, I want it to be the absolute best rendition of that character that we could possibly get and to be as accurate as possible. I want them to try their hardest to focus on accuracy, as that is the point of the Masterpiece figures in my opinion. And for the most part, I think as far as the movie Masterpieces go, they've all been excellent, and I would rather have them be really complex to transform if it means they are as accurate as possible, otherwise I would just stick to the Studio Series line. So yeah, I really don't agree with that opinion if you can't tell. Next up we have the opinion that mass shifting is bad and shouldn't be used. and for this one, I definitely agree with it. I just personally don't like seeing a character like Soundwave that is the same size as Megatron turn into a radio, or better yet, I don't like seeing Megatron go from one of the larger Decepticons to turning into a gun for the others to hold. I can kind of understand that maybe the metal they're made out of has the ability to shift its mass, however I just don't think it looks good. One of the things I love about the live action films is seeing each part of the character's alt mode find its place on the robot mode, and it makes sense and makes the transformations look really complex and cool because the designers have to find a place for things to go. And so when I saw Age of Extinction and saw Optimus clearly shift mass of several of his parts, it just took me out of the film a bit and it ruined his transformation in my opinion. But keeping with Age of Extinction Optimus, our next unpopular opinion comes from TikTok, and it says that Night Optimus is a cool design. And well, I disagree. I love the idea of having a more medieval knight style for Optimus, however I really don't like that he loses all his truck parts in robot mode. It almost makes it just look like a large man with a suit of armour on rather than an actual transformer to me. And as much as I love the scene of him transforming, it just doesn't hit the same as watching his first transformation in the 2007 movie, as you can't really watch where each part goes as it all just hides inside him. And so, as much as it's a fairly decent design, I definitely do not think it's one of his best designs. And finally, our next unpopular opinion also comes from TikTok, and this person says he hates when Bumblebee gets treated like a baby. And yeah, I do partly agree with this statement. I think people tend to forget that Bumblebee is thousands, if not millions of years old in some continuities, so he's by no means a baby. And he's also partaken in a massive war for thousands of those years too, so I don't think he should even act like a baby either. The reason I only partly agree though, is that in terms of Cybertronian aging, he is at least still a teenager, and so I can understand why he might not act as mature as the likes of Optimus Prime or Ironhide, but he definitely should not be treated like an innocent baby. I mean, this guy has killed multiple Decepticons in quite brutal ways, so he's definitely not innocent by any means. But yeah, that rounds off the unpopular opinions from you guys, and now I shall give you two of my own unpopular opinions. But before I get into them, I just want to get across that I know these are unpopular, and I can fully understand why most people would disagree with me, so please be respectful if you're going to comment on why you disagree with me. But anyways, my first unpopular opinion is that Bayverse Optimus is justified in his kills throughout the films. So, to explain myself, I think some of the methods he uses were maybe a bit extreme. However, I want to argue that this is an Optimus that has been fighting a war for millions of years against a Decepticon side that is absolutely brutal and ruthless. For example, Megatron literally rips Jazz in half, Sentinel Prime rusts Ironhide down to dust, Q is straight up executed, and Ratchet has his spark ripped out of his chest. Alongside that, these Autobots are all Optimus's close friends and best friends, so throughout each of these deaths, Optimus slowly becomes more angry and less likely to give mercy to these Decepticons. This is a topic I could go into way more detail with, and I might make an entirely separate video explaining this. However, that's my overall reasonings as to why I think Optimus is justified in killing the way he does throughout the films. And my next opinion, and the last opinion of this video, is that Rise of the Beasts was a good Transformers movie. And to be honest, I'm not sure why this is such an unpopular opinion, as I thought Rise of the Beast was what we have all been waiting to see since the live action films came out. We finally had each character get proper personalities and interactions with each other. The human characters were very likeable, and I didn't find that they took away from the plot or the Transformers at all. Scourge was an amazing villain. He was scary, powerful, and caused a lot of problems for the Autobots. All the fight scenes were creative, and you could fully tell what was happening at each point. Optimus had a character arc and development, which was great to see. I liked that Bumblebee wasn't the main Autobot again, and we actually got to see another get the spotlight. And with that, I thought Mirage was great, and he has become one of my favourite Autobots because of how likeable he was throughout this film. I loved the addition of the Beast Wars cast, with Optimus Primal and Airazor being two of the best characters in that film. And finally, I loved that the final battle showed all the Autobots together and working together, with several long one-shot scenes. But with that, we have reached the end of the 10 unpopular opinions about Transformers. I love the fact that we can have these opinions and talk about them with each other, and so I'd love for you guys to comment your own unpopular opinions down below, or discuss the ones I've listed in this video, and then I may make a part 2 of this video discussing even more of your opinions. So make sure you do comment and like if you want to be featured, or see me go over more opinions. And remember, everyone's opinion is valid, and they are allowed to have them, so let's be respectful when discussing them and keep things friendly. But anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe if you're enjoying my content, and I will see you in the next one.